April 9th, 2026, 300 meters below the Atlantic, a Russian submarine commander thinks he is invisible. But above him, the hunt has already begun. The ocean is silent, but the seabed is not. 1.2 million kilometers of fiber-optic cables run beneath these waves, carrying 99% of the world's internet. Your bank transfers, your messages, your entire digital life. It all flows through glass threads thinner than a human hair. And on this day, Russia decided to touch them. For 1 month, 3 Russian submarines moved like shadows off the coast of Europe. 2 of them were not ordinary attack subs. They were GUGGI, Russia's main Directorate of Deep-Sea Research, the most secretive unit in the entire Russian Navy. Their job is not to fire torpedoes. Their job is to dive deeper than any military submarine on Earth, to find the cables, to map them, and, if ordered, to cut them. The 3rd submarine was an Akula-class hunter-killer. Its only mission was distraction, to make noise up top while the real work happened in the dark below. But they were never alone. For 30 days they were watched. Every ping, every turn, every meter of depth recorded, tracked, logged. Because in 2026, America quietly restarted a ghost from the Cold War, the Integrated Undersea Surveillance System, IUSS. A network of hydrophones on the ocean floor, listening posts from the 1950s that were upgraded for this new war. And this time, they were waiting.
The UK's Royal Navy deployed the HMS St Albans, a Type 23 frigate built to hunt submarines. The Royal Air Force sent P8 Poseidon aircraft, dropping sonar buoys into the water, small floating bombs that listen and report back. Norway joined in, NATO joined in, satellites watched from space. The submarines thought they were in the void, but the void had eyes. Then, on April 9th, UK Defence Secretary John Healey stepped to a podium and said the words Moscow never expected to hear. "We see you. We see your activity over our cables and pipelines, and any attempt to damage them will not be tolerated and will have serious consequences." Within hours, the 3 submarines turned and ran, back toward Russia. Mission failed. Cover blown. The world now had proof and a name. Operation Sharknet. So what is GUGGI, and why should you care? Declassified CIA files describe it simply. If the Russian Navy is the body, GUGGI is the soul. They operate Losharik, a mini-submarine that can dive to 6,000 meters, deeper than the wreck of the Titanic. It can land on the ocean floor, deploy divers, attach tapping devices to cables, and disappear. Imagine a wiretap, but for the entire internet of a continent. That is what was moving beneath Europe in March of 2026.
And this was not random. In February, the US passed the Strategic Subsea Cables Act, hiring 10 new experts just to defend these lines. Because the math is terrifying. Cut one major cable and 25% of a region's internet slows to a crawl. cut 3 or 4 and banks stop. Hospitals lose access to records. Stock markets freeze. In a world that runs on data, the first shot of World War III will not be a missile. It will be a snapped cable on the ocean floor. Russia knows this. That is why GUGGI exists. That is why they sent 2 of their most advanced deep-sea subs while Ukraine burns, while the Middle East boils. They thought the world was distracted. They were wrong. The plan was surgical. The Akula would patrol loudly, drawing NATO ships and planes, while GUGGI's subs drifted silently down to the Dogger Bank, to the North Sea, where Europe's internet arteries run. They would map every junction, every repeater, every weak point, then wait for the order. And when that order came, Europe would go dark without a single bomb dropping. But the ocean remembers, and so does IUSS. The hydrophones heard them coming before they even left Russian waters. The Whidbey Island base in Washington and the Dam Neck station in Virginia tracked the acoustic signatures. Each submarine has a unique sound, like a fingerprint, and GUGGI's subs were already in the database. For 30 days, it was a game. The Russians moved, NATO countered. The P8 Poseidons flew figure 8s in the sky, dropping sonobuoys in patterns, creating a net, a Sharknet. Every time a GUGGI sub tried to go deep, a frigate was already above it. Every time they tried to hide, a satellite was watching the surface. They were never invisible, not for 1 second. And that is what makes this moment different. In the Cold War, spying was a secret. In 2026, spying is a message. The UK did not just track them, they announced it. They wanted Putin to know. They wanted every sailor in GUGGI to know. We can hear you breathe down there. Think about what that means. The internet you are using right now traveled through one of those cables. If Sharknet had failed, if those subs had planted their devices or cut the lines, this video would not exist. Your phone would be a brick. Your money would be numbers you cannot access. That is how close it was. And it is not over, because if Russia has GUGGI, what does China have? In April, a US Poseidon was spotted tracking Chinese submarines in the Red Sea. Iran is building underwater drone subs that can evade radar. Australia is deploying Speartooth AI drone submarines that can patrol for 2,000 kilometers. The war for the seabed has already started. We live in a world where the battlefield is 300 meters below the waves, where the weapon is a pair of wire cutters, and where the target is everything. Your photos, your job, your family, all of it passing through a glass thread on the ocean floor, guarded by men and machines you will never see. So the next time your internet lags, remember April 9th. Remember the 3 submarines that ran. Remember that somewhere, right now, a hydrophone is listening and a frigate is watching. Because the sharks are still out there and the net is still wide. This is Trench Waters, and if you want to understand the wars they do not show you on the news, the wars beneath the waves, subscribe and hit the bell. Next, we dive into Project Poseidon Hunt, how America is tracking Chinese submarines in the Red Sea, and why the next crisis might start in the dark.